In this episode, Michael Knowles puts forth a claim. He says that transgenderism should be eradicated from public life entirely. Take a look at this.
My next claim is that transgenderism should be eradicated from public life entirely.
Oh, brother. Here we go.
Hi.
We got a real one.
She got hers powerhouse.
The Blossom Powerhouse, lovely to meet you.
Powerhouse.
Go ahead.
Powerhouse.
I want to know your ideology around transgenderism, something that doesn't exist. It just sounds more like conservative propaganda. So I kind of want to know a little bit more about what you're trying to communicate.
Okay, I think for all of history everywhere, people have understood the human person to have something to do with his body. So like your body has something to do with who you are. Now there is an alternative view, which is called Gnosticism. It's a view that our bodies don't really have anything to do with who we are, that the body is maybe even evil, and that our true selves have no connection to our bodies. And I see in the transgender ideology a kind of Gnosticism that says that you could look like a man, you could have a man's genetics, you could have a man's genitals, you could have a man's everything, but if you feel on some deep level that you're really a woman, then you are really a woman. And I don't think that's true, and I think that the social effects of that are really bad because it leads to the depriving women of their legitimate rights. In some cases, it leads to notably in the last few years, and it also leads to women losing their sports competitions and their scholarships, and it's just disordered and false. And it also leads to more people adopting this identity, which leads to very high rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide. So it's bad for everyone, and it's not grounded in reality.
Oh, I don't even think you understand what you say sometimes. I don't think you even understand what you say, because when we talk about these cases of women in the restroom, they're coming from cis men like you. So let's be very clear where it's coming from.
No, that's not true. In 2021,
excuse me, do not interrupt a black
well,
trans woman.
I'm just trying to correct you. Well, I would never interrupt a black woman.
No, thank you.
Here's
the thing about me as a black trans woman. I am not a threat to cis women, and I think it is harmful that you are going around here spewing that rhetoric, weaponizing this rhetoric against trans people.
Weaponizing facts.
Transgenderism does not exist. We as trans people exist. We are 1% of the population, and there is a lot of power in the trans identity, because you are sitting here spewing something to me that doesn't really exist.
I'm not spewing anything.
First and foremost, he says, don't cut off a black trans woman. Don't cut off a black trans woman. Don't cut off a black trans woman. How about not cutting off your lower genitalia? How about that? Now, this is amazing. This individual here wants us to think that the costume that he's wearing makes him the opposite sex. This is not a fairy tale. Well, you know what? Maybe it is a fairy tale to them, but we don't have to play in this fairy tale. Michael made it clear that through the belief of Gnosticism, people created this ideology that they could be whoever they wanted to be and use a subverted viewpoint towards righteousness and or holiness. I can say that I'm a bullfrog. Does that mean that I'm a bullfrog? I can say that I am a car. Vroom, vroom. I can say that I'm a motorcycle. I can say that I am a cell phone. I can say that I'm a remote control. Does that mean that I'm a remote control? No, it doesn't. Just because a person feels a certain way doesn't mean that their feelings are reality. And that's the issue with the transgender movement. Watch.
I have lived experience. You don't, and you never will. But I do have a question.
I have
for
lived
you.
experience.
What if one of your
I'm alive.
What if one of your kids came out as trans? How would you
God
react
forbid.
to that?
I mean, I would obviously love my children, and I would try to do what's best for my children. And the best thing that I could do to be respectful and also to be conducive to their flourishing is to tell them the truth, which is that they're not really girls.
Correct.
Come on. I can't even imagine your relationship with your children. No shade.
That's great. That's a great relationship.
I just cannot even imagine that. But here's the reality. We exist. Again, people like you do not have the intellectual capacity to hold conversations like this, because in a minute you're going to reduce this down to genitalia, and then we're going to have to shift this somewhere else, because obviously people like you, that's where they go, right?
No, listen, if we have to reduce it down to genitalia, why do we have to shift it after that? Because this is about genitalia. You claim to be a black trans woman. Prove it. Where is the proof? We want to see something, all right? Show me the proof. Prove that you have ovaries. Now, you might have some chest fat, but that doesn't mean that you have breasts. You are not a woman. It's simple. It's true. And genitalia and chromosomes, all of these things, and DNA and swabbing your nasty mouth would prove that you are not a woman. It's just simple. It's just simple. Watch.
When you said that the that have occurred in these bathrooms are cis men.
White cis men, I should say, actually.
That isn't true. Loudoun County, 2021, the big case that actually ended up flipping the state was because there was a boy who wore a skirt.
That's right.
Went into the girl's bathroom and raped a girl in a particular.
I spoke in Loudoun County at that school board meeting.
You said you wouldn't.
A cis boy. It was not a trans woman. All y'all do is go back to cis boys. You're always talking about cis boys. I don't understand.
Because you are a cis.
With trans bodies and what's happening in the bathroom. It is mostly happening.
I think you're filibustering because you don't want me to tell you what happened in the bathroom.
Who?
Me. I think you're filibustering.
Child, no.
I think.
Yes, you are.
You're distracting from the fact that a boy wearing a skirt in a girl's bathroom.
A boy, but not a trans woman.
Look at that chin.
Yes, it is. You're looking at one right now.
I'm looking at.
You're looking at me
I'm
right
looking
now.
at a
lived experience.
I'm looking at a
lived experience. You are looking at a trans woman who has been transitioning for over 20 years, who has lived it.
And it's not working.
You're looking at
it's not working. At what point are you going to realize that it is not working? 20 years later, and you're still trying to take, my God, the hormone pills and the estrogen, and look at your chin. You scream, freak! You are a freak. But we have to sit here and listen to this insanity and be kind, be gentle. Don't say too much because you don't want to offend. When you are self-imploding right before your own eyes and you can't even see it because you think that it's normal. And people who don't love you lie to you. They tell you that this is acceptable because they don't want to hurt your feelings and your lived experience. You are a black Negro and you are male. You are not a woman. You're not a woman. See, Romans talks about this. Romans chapter 1 talks about inventors of evil things. This whole push to trans America, it's an evil invention that pushes confusion. And God is not the author of confusion. So where does confusion comes from? It comes from Satan, the evil one that fills the hearts and the minds of people to cause them to be driven towards evil inventions and confusion. God does not want us to be confused. This person is confused. And man, oh Lord, help me. Holy Ghost, help me. It's just unimaginable. Your lived experiences. You are living in a state of delusion. You are dying at a faster rate because you are putting chemicals in your body that's forcing your body to have to adjust. The most loving thing that we can tell you, dude, is to seek help. Watch.
You're talking to an activist here.
But your identity is not grounded in reality.
Somebody that's extreme. I am reality.
I'm not really talking to anyone because you keep talking over me.
In your head, I'm not, but I am in reality.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
In front of you right now.
No, you're not.
You're confused about your identity.
No, you are confused at the fact that you don't really have any talking points right now because I'm.
Then why aren't you letting me speak?
You really don't.
If I have nothing to say, why aren't you letting me speak?
Put me on your show. How about?
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I should have a show. I should have a show.
You
are a show.
Rapes in bathrooms and
My
women with
goodness, you are a show.
also because of the transgender identity.
But say it, cis men.
If you're going to describe a boy who wears a skirt and goes into a girl's bathroom as a cis man, no, I didn't.
No, you are. This is the example that you run to. Past that, you have nothing.
I've just given you 3 examples.
Nothing.
I've given you 3 examples in recent years.
You don't. You've been struggling this entire
news to
time.
Me. Have I?
Yeah, you have.
I think the trans lady doth protest too much, methinks.
Bye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Perhaps I'll see you on my show.
Yes, invite me.
Yeah.
Get my email. Tell your people to get my email address.
Oh, don't nobody want your email address, and get that butt pad off of your jeans. You ain't got, my God, try to walking around with a booty pad. What is going on with these people? These people have lost their minds. They have lost their minds. Michael Knowles is a good man because he was sitting there getting all aggressive and all this stuff, man. Now hold up, now you won't get it in my face. You ain't gonna be in my face, but so much, baby. Especially acting like that, because you might twitch. That twitch might get might get the best of you, and you be done hauled off and did more than you should have. Now I got to beat you like you a man, because you're a man. You are a man. Lord knows you are a man. All right.
Hello.
Hello. So I think I want to start off by asking you what your solution is to, like, the word eradicating. Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, the word literally means to pull up by the root. So not just to have some half measure where you say, okay, we're only going to trans kids after the age of 9, but not under the age of 9. Okay, we're only going to let men who identify as women go into this bathroom, but not that sports team or whatever. I don't think a half measure makes any sense. In fact, I think a lot of the conservative arguments.
You're not answering my question. What's the solution?
Oh, it means to uproot it.
So how do you do that? I want to know how you're going to uproot an entire percentage of people.
I'm not uprooting people. I would return American public law to what it was before roughly 2015.
I don't understand the perspective of how you or the Conservative Party is going to make any sort of progress in eradicating an entire percentage. I think it's just
we're not eradicating people. You're trying to say that because it makes us look crazy.
That's what you're saying.
No, I said I want to eradicate a whole ideology of transgenderism.
Trans people. That is going to be people that you are taking.
Like if I want to eradicate poverty, that doesn't mean I want to kill all the poor people.
I'm not saying
quite the opposite,
I'm not saying that you want to kill. I'm asking you what your plan, like what in the best case scenario, how are you going to get people to stop being trans?
I think we're going to tell boys that they're not girls,
so
that they're boys.
So we're going to tell boys that they're not girls, and they're going to listen.
Yeah, basically.
Really?
Yeah, that's
pretty much.
For most of history.
It works.
I can promise you to God that I didn't listen.
Yeah, well, because we live at a time that is affirming the transgender delusion. But if we lived at a more sensible time, probably you would have listened, and you might have had some. And I think we should just return to a more sensible kind of politics.
But what is yours? You're not giving a solution on how you would even be capable of doing
something.
I am.
I think we kick the fellas out of the boys' bathroom. We kick the transgender teaching out of schools.
How are you going to do that?
We just enforce the law as it was before 2015.
There was a law prohibiting trans women to go into the women's bathroom, or trans men going into the bathroom.
Yeah, it's the term women's bathroom.
That's a law.
That's why men can't go in.
That's a law.
Yeah. Yes. There are all sorts of laws against public indecency, for one, against men going into women's sports leagues. There are all sorts of regulations against that, or at least there were until recently. We did not have established in public life transgenderism until very, very recently.
That's not true.
That's
not true. What about the two-spirited people?
What is the two-spirited people?
Oh, Lord. Here we go. This, I don't know what it is. She, he, she. It's like they have a bumblebee swimming around in its skull. It's trying to find a place to land, but there's really nothing to land on because he, she, he is brainless. And now he's getting ready to go into the whole two-spirited community conversation. Now, I want you to know something, that biblically speaking, whenever the Bible talks about an individual who had more than one spirit, that spirit that this person took upon themselves that God did not give them is oftentimes a demonic spirit. Think about the demoniac of Gadara, who was bound in chains and would be cutting himself, mutilating himself. He was full of demons, full of spirits. And people who represent the two-spirited community, they are demonically possessed. They need psychological help. But I think that many of these people are probably due for a good old exorcism. Watch.
What is the two-spirited people?
In the indigenous community, they are, I don't want to get into semantics, but I know.
No, get into it.
The fact is that there has always been trans people.
Do you know where the phrase two-spirited came from?
I don't. Please enlighten me.
It came from the third annual Intertribal Native American First Nations Gay and Lesbian Americans Conference in 1990. And the woman who coined that term...
I just don't think that that's true.
It's true. The woman who coined that term admitted... Hold on. Let me just finish my point on this. The woman who coined that term, Maya Laramie, admitted somewhat recently that the term two-spirit came to her in a dream in 1990. Now, the Ojibwe Nation actually has translated this term. It's the Niche Mani Duwag.
No.
They translated
Be quiet. Listen.
In 1990.
How you're capable of eradicating an entire percentage of people.
No.
By setting laws, because people are
you're not. I think you're choosing not to hear what I'm saying.
That's right.
I'm saying we don't want to eradicate.
He just educated her.
We want to eradicate.
And she doesn't want to hear it.
But the other word is transgenderism, which is an ideology, not a group of people.
I am a transgender person.
No, you are not.
You are a confused
No, you are not.
Babe, I'm so secure in myself, and there's other women.
No, you're not secure.
That are also trans, have been trans.
You
for
are
20+
dangling
years,
like a thread.
7 years, babe, that know exactly what they're doing.
You're confused because it's not possible for a man to become a woman.
Looking at somebody without knowing their bodily autonomy, knowing anything that's going on with their medical history, anything.
Because I know.
Hold up. Now we can see that there's something going on with your medical history. I mean, the moment you sat down trying to prove that you are a she, he, she, that's all the medical history that we need. We don't need a full doctor's report of nothing. We don't need nothing. We see your medical report. Your medical report says cuckoo. That's what it says. It says that you are losing it. You're losing it. And I'm almost losing it because you're losing it, but you don't think you're losing it. Now you're making me feel like I'm losing it, but I can't be losing it because I'm right. I have truth on my side. Genesis 1:27, the Bible says that God created us male and female. He did not make us like this. You are made in the image of God. It's the Imago Dei. But this two-spirited community stuff and this new image that you want is not your image. It's a fake image. And sometimes the truth has to just slap the fakeness out of you and put you back into reality. Watch.
Because I know
nothing
I know
about
the
me.
basics of human nature.
You know nothing about me.
I know that you're human. And I know a little bit about human nature. And I know that a boy can't become a girl. So that's what I know.
Does anybody want to?
That's right. Get up. Get up. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. That's right. Bye. Walk on off. Oh Lord, with your big back. Walk on off. Next victim. Let's go. Oh man.
All on your own.
Not this guy.
Thank you. Whoa, look at all the support coming from me. I really appreciate it. I just find it interesting how usually this is Matt Walsh stick from y'all's place, and it seems like you're trying to leech on it from a lot of the media attention that you got from the transgenders and the eradicated. Do you want to talk a little bit more about why a woman should be doing that instead of a man like Matt Walsh?
People don't usually confuse me for Matt Walsh. They usually confuse me for Rachel Maddow. But she didn't come here either.
You present very feminine, which is why I feel like it's weird that you keep calling yourself like he or this term Michael.
Well,
I still have yet to see a birth certificate.
I'm glad that you recognize that there are stereotypical behaviors of men and women, and that they maybe ought to behave in those ways.
That's what a social role is. It's performative characteristics. So it looks like we're agreeing.
I don't.
What I don't agree with though is that you're saying again these specific biological essentialism, which you cannot prove right now. I
wouldn't call myself a biological essentialist.
You said things like chromosomes, genitals are the only things that can determine what people can perform.
I've never said that. When did I say that?
What do you mean? We can rewind the prompts. You guys can go back in the video.
Please do. Good luck. Good luck doing that.
What have you said then?
I agree with you that there is a social and performed aspects to gender. In fact, I agree that there is a distinction to be had between sex and gender. Judith Butler goes a little wrong. I guess my point is that pro-trans people say that when you are a man, your body is that of a man, but you desire to behave in a way that is not like a man, that you should do that. And then actually you should change your body often to be more like the opposite sex. And I guess my argument is...
Well, that's not something that's advocated for people who all experience gender dysphoria. There are certain instances where the medical community will say that this doesn't improve people's quality of life.
You don't think that puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones and surgeries are advocated for?
Let's stop doing this.
Well, I'm glad you know my name now.
I've never said that.
You did just say that.
I am being respectful this time.
Well, that's good.
Because I want to, just respect and show that it's not something that has to be proven on a piece of paper the way that we engage as a dialogue. So I'm just choosing to use the respectful terms that you've said, even though you still haven't proved that your name's Michael, by the way, which is a little bit weird. But we'll continue to go back to not all medical professionals will advocate for gender-affirming care for every person that's trans. Oftentimes it's a social transition where people are just changing their name or the way that they're dressed. So let's just...
Well, no. When the doctor fails... when the doctor chooses, let me say it this way, when the doctor chooses not to give that person sexual reassignment surgeries because the individual is comfortable holding on to his genitalia and they're not as crazy as many are. So therefore, they don't want to cut off their breast. They don't want to cut off their penis. They don't want to remove their vagina. And so they're able to cope. They are what I would call high-functioning trans. Okay? They're able to stay in the delusion enough to keep them from cutting off their body parts. Watch.
That's a bad idea,
Let's just treat people like society.
That's a bad idea,
Let's just treat people
because that's correlated with all
sorts
sorts of terrible outcomes, and it's contrary to reality.
Is it?
So to your point,
wearing certain clothes is contrary to reality.
Yeah,
if you go to
behaving
Scotland
like
and see
a woman
kilt,
if you're a man
are you crying because you see a man in a kilt?
Kilts are very masculine.
Oh wow, there you go.
I'm
saying
willing
that gender roles can change. They're malleable. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying
there's not something intrinsic that says I should wear this.
Not
particular
exactly.
set of
Fashions
clothing.
can change,
Okay.
but I'm willing to go further than maybe some of my friends and colleagues and conservatives, which is that I don't think that gender is just your biology, because I don't think a human person is just a body. I'm not a materialist. I think that we're body and soul. I think that we have...
So that goes back to, again, you arguing from a religious perspective, which
or
you have an American right to have.
Or a philosophical
but it's an American right to have that
perspective,
lack of religious perspective too. And that's what I'm trying to be here. I'm a patriotic man, Michael.
Right, but the
USA.
But I guess
should we have the freedom of expression? The First Amendment? That's what it's all
we don't
for.
have, there's no First Amendment right to obscenity, first of all. But second
it's
of all...
It's obscene for me to wear a dress.
But
yes.
Isn't it weird? Because I have XX chromosomes, Michael.
Yeah.
Big surprise.
You have XX chromosomes.
Yeah. Would you call me she, her now?
I don't. I'll
it looks like
I'll defer to you. I don't remember your name. What is your name?
What would you say my name is?
I don't know.
You can determine. You just said easy. It's very easy to determine.
Well, I could say if you look more like a man or a woman. But what is your name? You look more like a man.
Okay.
With that question, you certainly do.
Thank you so much. Because I don't. I have XY chromosomes, by the way. But you little flustering right there is a little bit. It shows that you're freaking out. I'm trying to figure out what objective truth is.
I don't think I'm freaking out. I think that people are intentionally confusing people in public, which is one of the problems of transgender.
Confusing.
Yeah, for a man to pretend to be a woman. That would be one example.
You've been saying that you're a man. I'm not seeing any masculine qualities, but I'll still call you a man for the rest of this video.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad you do.
Oh my goodness. He's not seeing any masculine qualities, and then he looks down. Man, God help us, save us. As humorous as some of these arguments might be, this is a real issue that many in our community are suffering with. And I use suffering appropriately because it is a certain level of trauma, anguish, mental anguish. There's a certain level of corruption that has crept into a person's heart, mind, and soul that drives them and fuels them with everything that's in their being to counter what God has done, to reject God. The Bible says, woe to the person who strives, who fights against their creator. And today we see that we have the created fighting against the creator, angry because God made them male, angry because God made them a female. And so they persist on proving God wrong. And hear me, there isn't a person that has ever lived or existed who has been successful in proving God wrong. So, what do you think about this episode? Is Michael Knowles right or is he wrong? Is he weak or is he strong? Let me know what you think below in the comment section. And be kind, be kind. Like this episode, share this episode, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you, and God bless America.